You guys in the mood for some Florida or Wisconsin action here?
Let's do this.
All right, name of the game is Florida or Wisconsin. Let me explain to Knute so you can fully enjoy the phenomenon that is Florida or Wisconsin. One thing we learned here in the newsroom over down the hall at Fox 9 is that whenever something crazy would come up, whenever some crazy story would come over the wire, it would either come from Wisconsin or Florida. We don't know why, but that's where the craziest news stories happen. I'm going to tell you a news story, and you are going to guess whether it happened in Florida or Wisconsin, and you're competing with Miss Sobe this evening.
Oh, I'm
Kelsey
ready. I'm
and
ready
Kelsey
for that.
too.
Yeah.
All right.
Bring it on.
Bring it
Our
on, Kelsey.
first story, when police officers knock on the window of a car and motion to roll down the window, the state Supreme Court of this state said that in a 5-2 ruling, motorists are free to ignore the cop and drive away. And I'm going to read you the actual conclusion from the judge. We conclude that a law enforcement officer's knock on a car window does not by itself constitute a show of authority sufficient enough to give rise to the belief in a reasonable person that the person is not free to leave.
What does that
So
mean?
That's
that
from the
means
justice.
what exactly?
That means that the cop knocking on your window is not enough reason for you not to just drive away, and you should be allowed to drive away.
I didn't hear it. I just didn't hear it. I was busy.
You didn't want
I was
to.
on the phone.
You looked and you saw, and you're like, how do you know that cop's not really a cop?
I don't know. Yeah, he might be a fake cop.
Right? So Florida, or is it in Florida or Wisconsin that you're allowed to drive away from getting pulled over?
I'm going with Wisconsin. I've driven in Wisconsin, and I'm not going to knock Wisconsin on the whole, but the driving is questionable. The driving is questionable, and I think that cop looked more Wisconsin than he did Florida.
I feel like people go to Florida to party. They're trying to get around town, go see the sights. They're heading to Disney World. They're not stopping for a cop.
Yeah. All right. Well,
We're
that's
going to Mickey Mouse Land.
That's a good theory. So, are we in Florida or Wisconsin? Yes, it is Wisconsin. So,
One for me.
I don't know, if you get pulled over this weekend, try it out. We'll see what happens.
He really is just like me. He's really worried about that score.
Oh, now this next story, you guys, so special. This grandmother and her 13-year-old grandson are accused of shoplifting as a team at a Walmart. They both took stuff and hid it in a tote bag. They both walked out without paying. Adorable. Also illegal. The kid does not face charges because they assume that he was working at an adult's direction, but he's 13 years old. He had to know, right? So is this Felonious Nana a Floridian or a person from Wisconsin? A Wisconsinite? Wisconsinite?
That sounds good.
Okay, yes.
I feel
Which
like
one?
I feel like in the Midwest, good family values, generations of shoplifters stay together.
The family
So
that steals
I'm
together
going-
stays together.
That
huh?
is interesting logic. The generations stick together so they steal, they shoplift
all
together?
projects. They don't discriminate on what type of projects they do
Right,
together.
if you look into
Right.
the generation gap, oh, look at that. Stolen merchandise. Look at that.
Who knew?
So what do you think?
I'm gonna go Florida.
You think
Okay.
it's Florida? And is it Florida or Wisconsin? It is Florida. You got that
Kelsey,
right.
you gotta step up your game.
Okay. Are you ready for the third story? You got to step
The
up
guest
here.
is taking me for
All
a
right.
ride. Let's do this.
This dude thought the price of a beer should have been $3. Well, the clerk said it was $3.75. He paid the guy with a $2 bill and some change. Then, dude shoved the clerk into a beer cooler and left, then allegedly came back and robbed the place with a gun, reaching behind the counter and grabbing money from the register. And when the cops came and got him, he told the cops that he just wanted his $2 bill back. I mean, those things are rare, right? So did this dude, bro, think that showing a gun and reaching behind the counter is a standard way to get a refund in Florida or Wisconsin?
I'm gonna say if it was Samuel Adams, he could have thought it was the 1770s. So I'm gonna say,
maybe.
and since Wisconsin was not a state, I'm going with Florida.
Okay.
I've been to Florida. I've been to Miami Beach, Key West. They're not selling beers for that cheap. That's a good old towny bar in Wisconsin.
Okay, Kelsey says Wisconsin, and apparently Kelsey had a bad day.
3 for 3.
Whoa.
This is my first
Well,
time, Kelsey.
Beginner's luck, Knute.
guys-
Beginner's luck.
you guys
we
are
all
really-
get it once in a while.
You really need to study.